Hello there. Welcome to this episode of commUNITY from Mix 94.1, where we talk with great people from great local organizations here in Stark County in Northeast Ohio, talking about how we can bring together our community efforts to really enrich the places that we live. And today, very excited to talk to Kevin from Habitat for Humanity, East Central Ohio. So welcome, Kevin.
Hey, thanks very much. We're doing great over here at Habitat. We're starting to get into build season, and things are picking up after all of our delays due to COVID. Like everyone's going through a lot of reaction to that and having to adjust plans, and we're doing the same. But I say all that to say we're really getting into build season now. We couldn't be more excited to get into that.
Sure. Like a lot of people, I bet just getting back to what is familiar to you, not only is a sense of relief, probably personally, but as an organization, feeling now that you can really start getting back to making an impact in our community.
Exactly. Habitat for Humanity exists to help local families who need decent, affordable shelter build and purchase that shelter with a 0% interest mortgage. It's why Habitat for Humanity exists. And the need for decent, affordable housing is just everywhere in our community, all throughout East Central Ohio. So folks who might be new to Habitat for Humanity in this area, we serve Stark, Carroll, Tuscarawas, Harrison, and Jefferson counties. And across those counties, what we've been seeing during this time is a lot of families who are sheltering in place and dealing with the fallout of all of this COVID pandemic in shelter that is unsafe and unhealthy. And this season has really reinvigorated us to do everything we can to take new avenues, to explore new ways to do as much good as we can, because families deserve the opportunity to live in housing that is healthy. And when you have a healthy housing that is affordable as well, think about all the things that can happen from that. One, you can afford better parts of life, things like better food, better healthcare, further education. Kids that are going through school can focus on their education and their development instead of where they're moving to next, or the health problems that come from living in just awful housing. So we are excited that build season is coming back. It looks a little bit different than it ever has before, like a lot of businesses and organizations all across our community. Of course, it looks different because we've got to do our part as well to keep people healthy and safe on work sites, in our Restore, at Habitat for Humanity Restore here in Canton, just all over the place. But the bottom line is that families at the end of this season, as difficult as it is, as many things are shifting and changing, there are families who are going to celebrate the holidays ahead from homes that they're building now. And we couldn't be more excited to get back to building.
You touched on something really, I think, important, and that's the fact that when you have a shelter in place order for any amount of time, it's really predicated upon people having a safe place to shelter. I know that there's been a lot of issues with people sheltering in places that are unsafe, whether because of domestic violence situations or just generally unsafe housing. Their houses are not up to code. Maybe there's repairs. Maybe there's no hot water, no heat, no available heat or consistent electricity. How much more important is it, and how much more do you as somebody with Habitat for Humanity, how much more do you realize that part of the mission, the safe and the comforts, the things that I'm sure a lot of people watching take for granted when they flick on the lights and they know that their lights are going to turn on? I mean, how much more does that really reinforce the mission for Habitat for Humanity?
For me personally, it really opened my eyes to the fact that I take a lot of things for granted. I don't live in the nicest house. I don't live in the biggest house. But I've got, like you said, a light switch that turns on a light every single time I flip it. I've got hot water. I've got the basic necessities. There are no issues with mold in my home that are going to cause me long-term health issues. And these are things that I think most of us take for granted. Habitat for Humanity has been around long enough, and it's filled with a team of people across the world that are passionate about decent and affordable housing. And so I don't think that we're surprised by the importance of all these things, But like I said just a little bit ago, we are incredibly invigorated right now to do everything we can because families really need it. And we see that need more than ever, but we can't just focus this passionately on decent, affordable housing when there's a pandemic only. We have to focus on it every single day. And that's why Habitat for Humanity, we've been in this area since 1988. We've built about 550 homes. And so that's thousands of people living in decent, affordable housing in this community locally that weren't before. And so we're seeing now, we've been around long enough, we're starting to see that pay generational benefits. You know, families who are going to college for the first time because now they have the resources to spend on things that make their lives better, things that improve their quality of life. And so, you know, the short answer is we've seen this issue for a long, long time. It's not new. The pandemic heightened it, made us more aware of the critical importance of moving quickly as possible to get families into homes that are decent and affordable. But every day we're just focused on doing everything we can in new ways and time-tested ways to help families get the best that they can out of their lives on the foundation of a decent, affordable home.
You mentioned something that I'm sure we all know, Habitat for Humanity, been around a very long time. I mean, I think everybody's seen at least the name, it's familiar. But one of the common misconceptions you and I have talked about in the past is that people think, well, you guys just get your donations and your funding, you go and you build houses and people move into them and they don't got to pay anything. And I know that it's unfortunate, but there are a lot of people who believe that if I have to pay for it, someone else shouldn't get it for free. Housing is expensive. It's not, you know, it's not relatively affordable for everybody in every area. What is the reality of families? Because you use the phrase affordable housing, which automatically means no, they're not getting it for free. What's really kind of a simple breakdown of that? So that way everybody can kind of be on the same page as far as what the families can expect, what people who donate can expect in terms of getting a family into one of the homes that's completed by you guys.
Yeah, I love Habitat for Humanity because everyone that's involved has an investment that they're making. And we can start right away with dispelling the notion that Habitat for Humanity homes are free gifts. Every family that partners with Habitat invests hundreds of hours of sweat equity. And by that, I mean, they're taking courses on financial literacy. They're learning how to maintain their homes. You have to remember, a lot of families are coming to Habitat for Humanity from rental properties or from public housing, and they've never had to experience the responsibility of maintaining the homes that they live in. And so we're talking about more than just building walls. We're building successful homeowners. And so through sweat equity, families learn how to maintain their homes, how to be financially literate, to help build their home and the homes of other families in the program. And at the end of all of that sweat equity, and sometimes people are in the partnership with Habitat for 1 or 2 years before they get to building their home. At the end of all of that investment, they purchase their home from Habitat with a 0% interest mortgage. And so if you think about the current rental rates, even in our area, a lot of the families who end up purchasing their home with that 0 interest mortgage pay half of what they were paying to rent a property or an apartment that oftentimes isn't healthy anyway. So not only are they getting that healthy housing we're talking about, but they're getting it in a very affordable way. But also, as another part of this, you know, you've got volunteers and donors who are investing their time. You're getting donors who are investing their finances, and a lot of times, many times, most of the time perhaps, people are some combination of all of those things. And of course, we have Restore, which is an investment in another way where people donate items they no longer need, and we sell them, and then those proceeds help us build more homes. And so the magic of Habitat for Humanity is this constant investment from everybody that's involved, whether that's a Restore customer who's never donated an item or volunteered on a work site, or a homeowner, a future homeowner who's investing sweat equity hours and building their home and the homes of others. At the end of the day, that 0% interest mortgage is possible because of all of these things coming together. Building a house is not cheap, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's not inexpensive. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. And Habitat for Humanity is certainly not the easiest way to build a home. It's valuable to us to use volunteers, to have people come out and invest their time, because we were just talking about this in the office today again, because we love this model of Habitat. When COVID hit, construction was considered still an essential business. So we could have continued to build homes with just our staff, maybe slowed things down, done fewer projects. But we didn't want to do that because volunteerism is a huge part of what makes Habitat for Humanity so beautiful. When volunteers are working side by side with the future homeowners on the work site, it's one of the most beautiful things. And I know I'm kind of talking in a big circle here around.
No, it's all good stuff.
But Habitat for Humanity homes can only have that 0 interest mortgage because of all these other things that happen.
Yeah.
And so when I say that Habitat is a big investment, that everybody's got skin in the game, that includes families, that includes volunteers, financial donors, Restore shoppers, Restore donors, people who are out advocating for decent, affordable housing, people who are making relationships with each other to do the most good for the people in our city. It takes all of these things coming together. And at the end of the day, just to say it one more time, right? Just to put a nice
get into it
on this point, Habitat homes are not free gifts. Families are working very hard. Consider they're doing full-time jobs. Sometimes they have multiple jobs. Many of them are single parents. Many of them are full families, but they've got children involved as well. And they're investing sweat equity at the same time. And so they're doing all of these things simultaneously for the hope that one day their decent, affordable home is going to be a foundation for something better that really lasts for generations. And we've seen it now that we've been around for 30 plus years. We've seen it works, and it's fantastic. It's pretty beautiful. Yeah.
So you mentioned Restore, and Restore, I think, is a very unique type of store. I mean, there are many places where you can just make a donation. The organization then goes and sells it to the public and then uses the funds for their operations or their goals and missions. But I think Restore is so unique because, to your point, it's such a community. It's not just, I hate to use the phrase consignment shopping. It really isn't. It's so much more beyond that and so much outside of that, while still kind of loosely, I guess, falling into that type of retail. For those not familiar with Restore, and I don't know why anybody wouldn't be, can you just give us, how does Restore impact the operation of something like Habitat?
Our Restore operation, it's down on Raft Road in Canton, and it is key to how Habitat for Humanity builds homes. We need Restore in our operations because it provides that funding mechanism to keep going. You can't be around you mentioned community, and you're totally right. You can't be at Restore for any long amount of time and not realize the good that it does. Whether that's through shopping, whether that's through donating, it can't be denied that Restore is a powerful way to help Habitat build more and more homes. It's also good for the community in a lot of ways. It helps people get their hands on inexpensive items that they might need desperately in their lives. If you're on a fixed budget, if for whatever reason, Restore is great because you're going to find inexpensive items that are high quality, and in a lot of cases, brand new. People donate brand new stuff all the time. Which is crazy to me, by the way. Our community is one of the most generous Restore communities ever. And I think it's because people really latch on to that mission of Habitat for Humanity. And it's so easy to latch on to because at the end of the project, there's this physical result in seeing a home where there wasn't a home before. And so in all the ways that Restore communities come together, it's donating. It's good for you getting stuff out of your house that you no longer need to make
I'm
way
fine with that.
for other items. Yeah, it's when you're shopping, you're getting a great deal. For the whole community, it's keeping very usable materials out of a landfill. And so there's a lot of environmental aspects there as well. And so whatever way you come at Restore, it's just good. It's got a great mission. It's helping the environment. It's helping individual people. It's helping families who are trying to build a better future for themselves. And we've really seen, and I'll say it again, I like to drive points home, as you can tell.
Do it.
Absolutely. I'll say it
Absolutely.
again, the community around Restore is, it boggles our mind. We feel so humbled every single day by the people who are donating, the folks who come down and shop. We have a lot of regulars every single day. They're in here looking for new deals. And I know it's because we have great and unique items, but I think it's also because we have a great and unique mission.
It's great when you can combine those things. Absolutely. So to kind of put a bow on all of this, Restore donations, if people are looking to find out either how to volunteer or donate to the home side of it, the housing side of it, or if they're looking to find out if they qualify. I mean, right now, a lot of people financially are in a much more unpredictable place than they were 6 months ago. I think most people are. And for some people, that could mean housing and leaving the housing they're in. How can people get more information about how to help or seek the benefit of partnering for a potential home with Habitat?
Yeah, so let's start with the Habitat side of things. If folks want to volunteer, if they want to give a financial gift, if they just want to learn how they can be advocates for decent and affordable housing, you can give us a call at 330-915-5888 or visit our website. That's habitateco.org. That's Habitat ECO for East Central Ohio. .org. And you can find a ton of information there about home ownership, about volunteerism, and giving financial gifts. You can apply for housing online as well. So that's all available there. Over on the Restore side of things, we do offer free pickup for large items or a large amount of items. And we'd be happy to talk with you about that. Our phone number at Restore is 330-915-5920. And our website is restoreeco.org. And you can schedule a free donation pickup right on our website. We've also launched a new online store where you can browse a selection of, you can browse now. And the items that are there are exclusive to our online store.
Oh, good to know. Very good.
Hundreds of things that are available right now. You've got a number of days to come and pick them up. And you're going to get the same great Restore pricing. And of course, at the end of the day, all of the things we've talked about today and so many more, man, so many more are what make Habitat so wonderful and so powerful in this community. And it's all about decent, affordable housing.
Awesome. Well, Kevin Miller, Director of Communications, Habitat for Humanity, East Central Ohio. You can get more information from the links and numbers he mentioned. We'll also have those below in the description and the caption to make it nice and easy for you. And Kevin, best of luck on the upcoming build season. I know you guys are very excited. I know everybody's really looking forward to seeing how much magic you guys can make under the time crunch that I'm sure you're already doing your best to stay ahead of.
Yep, we're going to work hard and we're going to keep going because it's important. So thank you.
Absolutely. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of commUNITY. Again, if you want more, click the link right down there in the description.